Hello, Tim from Fair Play now on the 16th of June 2023. So I don't know if you saw this. I saw it in a few of my Telegram groups over the week, but on Tuesday in The Guardian, that bastion of free speech and truth, I don't think so. But there was an article in there saying that apparently 25% of the UK population now believes that the lurgy was a hoax. Now, of course, they dress it up in very unfavourable language, calling anyone who thinks like that, well, you know what, conspiracy theorists, how predictable. Now, when they call the likes of us conspiracy theorists, we know what they really mean. They sort of want to say we're crazy, we're mad, and they can't quite say that, so they use the conspiracy theorist thing to imply it, just to be ever so slightly more polite, but not much more polite really. But when they are coming out with figures like 25% of the UK population and then saying, well, basically they're conspiracy theorists or they're mad, they're essentially calling a quarter of the population mad, which, well, that is what really is mad, isn't it? The fact that they are just saying that such a large proportion of the population is crazy just shows you what a sticky wicket they're on now, how desperate they're getting and how crazy they are getting. Now, this 25% figure, that is going to be on the low side if the mainstream media are admitting to a quarter of the population. Probably means it's more like 35% maybe. And they're just the ones who are admitting it, saying openly that they think the whole thing was a hoax. There's going to be way more people who deep down either know or they're starting to think that the whole thing was a hoax, but they just don't want to admit it. They want to bury their heads in the sand, or maybe pride sort of comes into play and they don't want to admit they're wrong, especially if they've had quite a few of the you know whats. And when you take those kind of people into account as well, we could be well over 40%, 45, maybe even 50%. Certainly once we get to 50%, half the population thinking that the whole thing was either a big hoax or certainly not what it was all cracked up to be, it's going to be game over for the lurgy narrative, isn't it? And I think the powers that shouldn't be are getting desperate. They know that our numbers are growing absolutely hugely. They know we're winning. That's what I'm going to say. I think we are winning, and it's thanks to people talking to other people, saying, yeah, planting little seeds in people's heads. I get lots of comments and emails, and that's sort of from people saying, you know, I've planted some seeds into people's heads, dropped some truth bombs, and you know, I think they're starting to question things. And when you couple articles like this Guardian one this week, and also things like this ridiculous BBC Verify thing that many in the freedom movement have been talking about over the last couple of weeks, they've got that film, haven't they, out now, the interview with the guy from the Light newspaper, and with that sort of supposed disinformation woman from the BBC having an interview. So that's interesting actually, because apparently that whole thing was cut down to about half an hour, and it was just cut so much that it didn't really bear any resemblance to the full thing. I am lucky that I've got the full version, the full 3-hour interview between those two, which I'll be trying to watch over the weekend myself. I will put the link to it in my sort of weekly newsletter, which comes out on Sundays. More on that in a minute. So it might be an idea to actually watch the full version and then what the BBC put out, you know, the 20-minute, 30-minute interview, their version of it. And it'd probably be quite hilarious how much they've doctored it and changed it to suit the mainstream narrative and make, you know, the good people from the Light newspaper just look, you know, like extremists or whatever. But circling back to my main point, these things that the mainstream media are doing just shows their desperation. I think they know that we're winning, that they're losing ground. Every single day that goes by, more and more people wake up. And I saw a comment under the Guardian article in the Telegram group that I saw it, and this person was saying, you know, people out there are waking up big time now. That was her words, not mine. And I'm just wondering what your experience is on this. Do you think people are waking up big time out there, or are everybody kind of round your way still totally asleep, bearing in mind that they might appear to be asleep because, you know, as I said earlier, they don't want to admit they were wrong. But are you sensing that people sort of might be coming round now? I have seen quite a few people who have said things like, you know, people who used to be really on board with the mainstream narrative in recent times, recent weeks, recent months, they've had comments like, you know what, I think you might have been right all along, mate, and stuff like this. Haven't had it myself yet, personally. I haven't had anyone close to me saying that they think I might be right, but I know a lot of people have had comments like that. Again, have you had anything like that? You know, I think you might have been right all along with all of this stuff that you've been saying for the last 2 or 3 years. Again, I'd like to hear about that in the comment section below. So I'm going to leave the long version, which is on Rumble actually, of that interview I was talking about, and I'll put the link in my weekly email newsletter. It comes out at 6 p.m. every Sunday. I know a lot of people have signed up to it now, or sort of come onto it. It's just me, uncensored. I've got to mind my words and phrases and phrase things carefully on this, as you know, for obvious reasons. But obviously email is totally uncensored, and I can just say what I like, really, without having to use silly code words like the lurgy and big V and all of that kind of thing. So if you're interested in that, getting me uncensored, do check it out. I'll leave a link to in the description box below here, where you can go and check out my weekly email newsletter. And if you're interested in it, please do sort of fill in the little thing, you know, it's the usual thing: name, email, address, and sort of send it to me, and yeah, you'll get the newsletter. You will get one of those emails if you do it, saying you know, confirm that you want to receive these emails. That might go into your spam folder, so yeah, if you can't find it, look in there. But you know the drill. Just sort of you know, sort of look out for that. And if you're interested, I'll see you on my weekly newsletter. And just one last point before I go about emails. The email thing I use to reply to people, you know, if you send me a private email and then I reply to it, a lot of the time they're just getting pinged back. My replies are getting pinged back at me. So I'll go onto your email that you sent through to me and I'll hit reply, type my reply out and hit send, and then I get one of those failure, you know, it's failed permanently, and just pings back at you. And that's been happening quite a lot. So if you've sent me an email recently and haven't had a reply from me, that'll be why. It's not for want of trying, but it's such a pain, and that's going to have to be the next thing I'm going to have to sort out email wise. But anyway, like I say, that long interview with the guy from the Light newspaper will be in the email newsletter, and yeah, if you're interested, go and sign up for that. And I'll be back tomorrow with another video, and if you get the newsletter, see you there at 6 PM on Sunday. Tim from Fair Play Now, thanks for watching.